Geocache Talk, a voice on the line I hear, coming through Geocache Talk.
It's time for Geocache Talk. Whether you are at work, in the car, or wherever you are, we hope you enjoy this show about the great sport of geocaching. If you're watching live on YouTube, you can be part of the adventure tonight in the chat room and participate with others as they watch the show. If you are listening later, please give it a like and subscribe on your favorite podcasting app so that you can get all of the weekly Geocache Talk goodness.
All right. Big thanks to Travel Bugs.
Mm-hmm.
Get to the bottom of my notes here.
You're rusty after that, short podcast we did last weekend.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for the Travel Bugs for the opening. Our featured patrons: Trexer Zero, Hide Go Seek, Texas History Lady, Zipper Tiff, TWH Rider, Toe Headed Mule, Team Steiny, Arnott Family, S. Seiler, Coon and Bud, and our new patrons: Joyful Nomad, Gobi Geocachers, Crime Fighter 89, and Damac 04. If you'd like to become a patron, click on the Become a Patron link on the front page of the Geocache Talk website, or head on over to patreon.com/Geocache Talk for more details. Before I'm going further, let's bring in our guests, and I'll then continue because I know one of them has a coin they want to show. So our guests tonight are, we've got Julia, JB Opto, and Brenda, and Wild Rose of Texas. Or which one is that yours, Brenda?
Yeah.
Okay. Your husband uses a different one?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. So let me continue on. Jesse's got me all messed up here. Okay.
You can't blame me. I haven't done anything yet. I
I'm blaming
ain't even
you.
introduced yet, so I can't do anything wrong yet.
Patrons get the now famous blackout coin, or some of them have other coins. Ooh, Julia's got the other
even
one
of these,
or one of those. Yep, Julia's got the
all kinds of fun coins.
The leaderboard coin, and Jesse has the brand new coin. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, not even available yet.
Not available to, well, kind of available, not really.
Kind of available.
Other geocaching items during the year, as well as bonus content, invites to special events, only for patrons. Support level start at as little as Bison Tube level. That's just $3 a month. That's it. So let's jump right in. Show 228. And let's do first some not just regular news. We've got like old Uber breaking news because I get to play this one. I like that one. Breaking news.
That was a proper use because not everybody necessarily saw last week. So
it's not our soft news bump.
That's right.
Which is this one. But this is the special news.
Take the buttons away from Gary.
Because last week we announced, well, actually during Podcast of Hope.
Yep.
Which we'll talk about here in a moment.
Yep.
We did have Brian Roth, president, co-founder of Geocaching. He announced about Worldwide CacheCon 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Worldwide CacheCon 2021 coming January 30th, 2021. And we're very excited about having that event. It's going to be a virtual conference. Yeah, I don't know what that means either. So,
well, it doesn't mean anything yet because it hasn't ever happened before.
It's never happened before.
Brand new thing we're creating, yeah.
Yeah. We talked with with Brian and Rock Chalk and several people at HQ, and we said, "Hey, we want to do this," and they're like, "Cool, we're willing to promote it with you guys," and we're like, "All right, great, that's great. To have geocaching.com behind your event, to sponsor it is great." And then we go, "What about this?" And they go, I don't think that will work." And so we had a long list of things that were like, we want to have this. Like, we don't think that's really fits the mold that we've got. So anyway,
right. Well, things still have to fit, the rules in general, right? You can't. Well, one of the biggest things was, and this is a good example of what we kind of went through back and forth trying to brainstorm.
Yeah.
Like, hey, can we do a virtual event? Well, virtual events are not a thing. And they don't like to do them. They don't want to do them. And if you think about it, it messes it up. So if we did a virtual event, where would it be hosted?
Right.
Because it's got to have a location to it, right? Because that's the way the system's set up. So if we host it in Texas, and people have never been to Texas, then it messes up everybody's stats.
Yeah.
We got into this long thing of how do we do all this stuff, and we finally came out with this. We'll see if it's a great idea or not, right? It'll be fun for us, and it'll give everybody something new to do, but we'll see how it goes, right?
Yeah. And you're correct. New is good. Thank you, Cache Canada.
Can't we use some good news right now? I mean, we wanted to have something good and fun to do, and what better time than start 2021 off right and have some good news and something new and fun to do.
Exactly. So, very excited. We'll go into more detail later. Actually, we're going to announce the schedule for CacheCon during a special show. It'll be on December 22nd. I think I've got the right date. Let me make sure it's a Tuesday. Tuesday night. That's sort of our fifth Tuesday of the month. So we decided that would be a good time to do an announcement of the schedule. So tune into that show on Tuesday at 8 p.m. sort of standard time for Central Standard Time, which is our standard time for the show, 8 p.m. So you'll find out more about Worldwide CacheCon and the different hours that we're going to be doing and all of that. So very exciting. We've got people all over the world that are being involved in this. We've roped in HQ to help us with different things, and so we're very excited to have that.
Yeah. So. It'll be a lot of fun and something to look forward to.
Yeah. So real quick on a couple things. One is December still right in the rain is back for the holiday season. So if you want to buy anything from Right in the Rain, you can use the coupon code GEOCACHE, and they will give 30% off your bill. So 30% off the total for that. So thank you, Right in the Rain, in your sponsorship for that. Very exciting to have them do that. They also gave a prize during Podcast of Hope, which was great.
They did.
Thanks to all of our vendors and sponsors and patrons and everybody else who provided prizes for people for Podcast of Hope, and we were very excited to. Our goal was 8,000, and so Jesse, I don't think we set our goals very well.
I think we set our goals great, but we're always
very poor goal
by the giving of cashers, right?
We are.
We all play a game in common, but at least this one time a year we get to see how much people really care about stuff bigger than the game. And St. Jude is one of those things. You can't even argue about it. It's a great place. And every year, no matter what goal we set every year, they exceed it. And, we all do. It's $10,000 from a podcast about geocaching to go to battle cancer, childhood cancer. That just, that leaves me speechless, which is kind of hard to do. So I can't thank everybody enough that was involved in that. I understand it's a hard year, so some people didn't get to give this year. We all get that, right?
Yeah.
There'll be another year. We're going to keep raising money for Podcast of Hope. Using Podcast of Hope for St. Jude, and you cannot beat $10,000 raised for them. They need 10 times that, 100 times that, right? Or
Oh yeah.
that's bad math. They need a lot more than that. But
Yeah.
any little chunk that we can do, it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, they're making so many breakthroughs. I mean, they're working on so many different of areas and so many different ways to battle that cancer. I mean, they've got the rates down. You know, when they first started, and we won't get into a lot of this tonight, but just briefly, when they started, the childhood survival rate for cancer was 20%. That's it, 20. Now it's up to 80. So they've made great strides, but to get that last 20% is going to take a lot. And they're really working hard to, get down to the DNA level to try to battle this thing and get rid of it.
Well, it's not just cancer. So
Not
cancer is
just
what gets
cancer,
the
you're right.
headlines, but they work on many other diseases as well.
They do. Yeah.
and they're never going to stop. There's never not going to be a disease that they can work on. They're always going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
And, they give their research away because they want other people to help. So we can't say enough. We could spend the whole hour talking about them again, but we just want to thank everybody for, helping us just crush that goal of 8,000 and getting all the way to 10. It's 10,000 even right now, and it's still open. So,
yeah. And other news that you'll find out, we'll cover tonight. We don't really have time. I did want to bring up and show you guys what the Mad Finn created and posted, because I think it's hysterical. But you have to look carefully, because when I first saw it, I was like, oh, that's really cool. And then when you look further in, you'll see some interesting things. So there's what he made. He made a gingerbread ammo can, and this is sharing this by permission. I asked Yosti if it was okay. And logbook, and there's, if you can read that down there, you can discover it. But good luck. But I love that he made a gingerbread black coin, Jesse.
I know, that is awesome. That's the coolest thing I've seen in a while.
An ammo can made out of gingerbread. And he did a good job. He's like, he wasn't real happy with it. I thought it turned out fabulous.
That's great. Come on, that's very cool. I have no idea how he did it, but it's great.
Isn't that great? And then here's the other side of it. If you can read that coin, you could get that juice. I think that's
Not only is it a black coin, he also did a logbook that looked like a Write in the Rain logbook.
Yeah, he did. And the coin, it's the backside of the blackout coin. So I think it's the same number. But anyway, I thought that was cool. So anyway, all right.
It probably won't hold up if he hides it somewhere, but it's nice art.
Yeah. Well, let's get into the actual show. Scott would be mad if we waited 13 minutes to start, but hey, there we go. But so Julie and Brenda, thank you so much for joining us tonight to discuss the Texas Winter Games. And so just to let people know who are watching or listening now or later, we're going to be talking about the Texas Winter Games, but the premise or the idea behind us discussing this is, how can this be done where you live? And so that's kind of the thought behind this is, yes, we're going to be talking about very specific things to a specific event, but I want everybody to think about, I could take that little item there, that little nugget, and I could create that into something with my little group or my association or my country. Mm-hmm. So that's where we're coming from. So yes, we're going to talk about things for this event, but we want everybody to think about it in the broader scheme of
as a possible template of what can be done. Because you may be in an area like me that there's no events allowed right now.
Right.
But events will happen again. They're going to happen again, whether you're allowed to have them right now or you are not allowed to have them right now. They will happen again. And, if you're coming back to events, you might as well do something really creative like this.
Yes, absolutely.
Or some version that this sparks an interest, an idea for you.
Right. And we've got, as Dee says, 2 Rockstar TXGA board members. So, so Dee's watching. So anyway, all right. Well, you guys, we're going to talk about. This is the 5th year. Have either one of y'all been involved with all 5 years or no?
Both of us.
Yes.
Really, both of y'all have been.
Yes.
Okay, great.
We are Team Jazz. Team Winter Jazz. Sorry.
Winter
that's
Jazz.
right. Team Winter Jazz.
Team Winter Jazz. I love it. That is awesome. So I guess let's talk a little bit about the history and then we'll kind of get into more of the details. But what was the genesis of this idea or this event?
I'm an event stalker.
Are you? Okay. I like that.
Archived events all over the world that speak English.
Right.
And I came across this event in Canada that is very close to where we used to live. It's hosted in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Right.
And I contacted, I can't remember if I did contact them. I think I created the event to see if I could get the reviewer to go ahead and, cooperate with me and get it going. And then as I got it going, then all of a sudden they got a hold of me and said, "Hey, you're doing the same thing we are." Yeah, I am. Thanks for inspiring me. That's what we do. We inspire each other. But I want to back up just a little bit because before we started the game, I said, okay, I'm not going to be able to do this by myself. I'm just not a numbers person. There's going to be some scorekeeping that's going to be needed. And I know that Julia has got some serious skills. So I got together with her in the fall of September or October of 2016. I said, hey, so do you want to do this? I had printed out the last Canadian version. And I said, here, read this through, think about it. I need somebody to kind of come on board and be my buddy to help me put this on.
Right.
And I've always loved doing stuff like this. Like I used to do scavenger hunts with my kids that would just go on forever. And pretty soon they're like, Mom, we're tired, but aren't you having fun? So anyways, Julia was kind enough to say yes. And that's how Team Winter Jazz began.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what was your initial thought when you heard all this, Julia?
Well, she had sent me the whole thing, or I think you gave it to me printed out, as a matter of fact. And I brought it home and I read through these multiple pages of, these rules and then all the tasks described and kind of how the scoring would be and that kind of stuff. And I was like, I had to read through it a couple times because I wasn't exactly sure how it was going to work. And we talked and she explained more to me. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I can create an Excel spreadsheet to keep score on with the formulas to add stuff up. And it's a couple different pages for the task and then for our weekly and monthly bonuses. But, I understand Excel pretty good. And so I was like, yeah, let's do this. I think it'll be kind of fun. And we put it out there and people still to this day have lots of questions.
Sure.
But I was like, yeah, let's do it. And let's see how it goes. And, and then we just, every year it's been kind of like, hey, you want to still do this? Yeah. Okay. And we just keep going with it. So
there's a percentage of people that sign up to play initially thinking, oh, this is a really good idea. And sometimes they just get overwhelmed or they don't realize that it's something that it's kind of a continual effort because this goes over 90 days. And if anyone wants to do this, like a smaller version of it, even a 30-day one would be completely doable as long as the group isn't too big. I mean, we've never limited the group. The first year we had 23 signups and almost everybody finished. And then the next year we had 34 sign up. And we had a percentage of people that kind of dropped off through for whatever reason. I mean, you initially would decide, yeah, this sounds like fun, I'll do it. Right. And some people, it just clicks and they just jump into it. Of course, with the list of tasks on this is exceedingly long. And some people are so gung-ho, they want to do them all for all the points. And we of course, make it so that you only do so many so that you have a choice. Not going to go too crazy. We want beginners to enjoy doing something like this as well.
Yeah, I think that'll be interesting to see. Oh, go ahead, Julia.
I think life just kind of gets in the way, sometimes because you do have the 90 days and we do caution people, it's written right there on the cache page, don't wait till the last minute, to try to accomplish these things. Cause like this year we're requiring you finish 12 tasks to be eligible for prizes. And so you can't just go out and do 12 of these tasks usually in a day or two, because some of them take a day or two, like our spelling bees and some of the other options if you want to do them.
Yeah.
So, you can't wait till the last minute. So I think sometimes life just gets in the way for some folks.
Right.
And that's why they drop off. So, but usually we have a good number that start, that finish. So a good percentage.
Yeah.
This year, I think there's 25 signed up. So far, some people in the first couple of weeks have posted some tasks already.
Yeah.
Some have posted some of the biweekly bonus this year, and they're working on it. So, and some I haven't heard from, but, it doesn't mean they're not going to play. So I keep everybody's name on the score sheet till I'm doing the final score.
Right. I did post, by the way, in the chat room, the event, and we'll talk about how this all works as we go about tonight. But in case you're playing along at home or you're playing along audio later, the GC code is 92JVW, as in Jasmer Virtual Water.
Or Volkswagen.
I've got my cheat sheet here.
Yeah.
Created by
You're cheating.
by Terraviators. So there's the cheat sheet by them.
Oh,
We
have
did
a
change
whole
one.
caching alphabet.
We took out Weezer and we put in terrain instead. But anyway,
There are some shirts with that on them too.
there are some shirts with that on it.
That's
I think
right.
Julia had one probably.
Might have one of those.
Yeah, I have one of those. So Jesse is somebody who read through all of this recently.
Of course.
He read through it all, and we were talking about before the show. No, WKW is not where I go.
It really should be though.
W is water because there's a lot of water caching, but it really should.
Yeah.
be.
So I did read through these, and I was really interested because in the past I've hosted much smaller versions. We've done annual travel bug races and some other events like that, and they're hard. They're really hard. And luckily I had my wife to help me out, and we had a couple other people to help out. What we learned early on is you need a team. You need a team to do something like this that's committed for a long. You can't just like, hey, we're gung-ho for 30 days and then drop it off. There's a lot of people counting on it. And rules. Y'all have a great set of rules, which I know we're not going to go over all the rules tonight, but if people are taking this and one thing they get away from this is make some rules, because cachers, I'm not going to say break, but definitely bend rules to their favor, because that's what they do. Our whole game is about numbers and stats and how you can push the limits and stuff like that. So this one is set up really well. So if you're going to take this and do an event, because this is only a Texas event, but if people are listening and you're going to take this and you're taking notes tonight and you're going to do an event, really pay attention to how they have this one set up, because it's set up really well.
Yeah, are there certain things that when you guys first started setting this up, and I know it's been refined, and probably up through the time, and we were talking about before the show, Julia is saying that you still have a lot of questions because you have new because you're gonna have new people every year who come along and want to play.
Yeah.
So those occur, but what are some of the initial things that that occurred? And as Dee said, cachers will find the loopholes. So what are some of the things that you found that were like, oh, dang, we didn't think about that?
One of the first stumbling blocks, and I can't remember if we had this in the first set of rules, was that people wanted to accomplish these tasks on new caches that came out. So your points could be achieved based on foreknowledge of what the requirements were. So we had to make sure that was in there and remind people every year that all of the different activities that you do for points are going to be done on caches that have published before the start of the games.
Okay.
That's one of the first things. Right, Julia?
Yeah, that was one of the first things. And then another thing that we learned too was when people would write their notes on the cache page to claim their task, claim the points for their task. We kind of, in the beginning, we didn't really have a format for that. And it made scoring very difficult because it was kind of willy-nilly. Sometimes everybody was writing different things. So now we've come up with a format that we have published, and it's right there. So it's, we say how we want that to be. So when I go to try to score these tasks, I can just look, I just scroll down all the right notes on the cache page and can get the information I need. And I will tell you, I'm a rule follower big times, but I treat everybody the same. Everybody, whether you've played many years in a row, this is your first year, everybody gets the same opportunity, treated the same. So I try to help the new folks out, and, we're a little bit lenient, but I think with everyone, but everybody gets treated the same. So I'm lenient with everyone as far as trying to understand, because some of it's a little complicated. So that is something that we didn't have right in the beginning, but pretty early on, we figured that we needed to have that as well. Right. And then reiteration several times through announcements about the caches need to be caches that were published prior to the start of the games, unless we state otherwise, because sometimes some of our bonuses for the weeks or the month, we might put a little catch in there. So you really kind of have to, it's very challenging. You really have to pay attention to what is written. Right. And if you have questions, let us know, and we try to let people know we're here to help you. We want you to have fun. So definitely.
One of the rules that I read in there, and I read it fast, so it's a long document, but a long cache page for the event. But one cache for each task. So I suspect I'm interested to know, was that an original rule or something you had to learn as you started?
No, that was an original.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can see Casher trying to get 5 tasks out of one cache. So
yeah, no doubling up. The only time that we do allow the doubling up is for the spelling bee.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Gotcha. So let's
but not two different tasks. I mean, it's like a bonus challenge.
Oh, okay.
So each task though is separate, but the spelling bee, like you can use it for something for the bi-weekly challenge or the monthly challenge or whatever it's going to be if you need something like that. So that's the only time though.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I like that. So let's step back a minute and kind of give a broad overview for everybody to get really kind of that aren't looking at the GC code right now, but so kind of give the highlight of the steps. So there was a kickoff and there's a final, but what happens in general between there, and then we'll get into some of the specifics here in a minute. But so you had a kickoff event, okay, and then there's certain things that there's tasks that people need to complete, right?
Right. Well, initially to sign up, we asked them to post a note on the event, and then that way the scorekeeper can get everybody on the score sheet.
Okay. Good thinking.
By doing that, then it's very clear that they're playing. Right. Well, they also need to state whether they're playing solo or on a team. And if they're playing on a team, they have to state who the team captain is and who is on the team.
Okay.
And we like to clarify that with the team players, each person on that team has to be present at each task find.
Right. Yeah. There's no 20 people on a team and everybody go find a different cache and we're going to claim you all found that.
Right. You have to be there. And then like I cache, I play the games, and so does Brenda. Brenda plays with her husband, and I play with a friend of mine, and we create these teams. And you both have to be there. You both have to log a find on the cache on the same day it was found.
Right.
Can't have different dates. And then the team captain is the person that's gonna post the claim of the task on the Winter Caching Games page.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Write the note.
Right. Write the note. Dee's asking about how hard is scoring?
It's hard. It's hard.
She's done,
Yeah,
she's got
it's hard. One thing that I wish you would be easier is because you have to scroll down, any cache page that any cache has been out there a long time with a lot of finds or write notes or DNFs on it, you have to scroll down. So I kind of try to keep track in my mind where I stopped, because I work every day. So I don't get to look at it every single day or put it on the score sheet every single day. I just have to remember where I stopped. And I kind of use my score sheet to help with that. But yeah, it's kind of hard sometimes, especially on these ones that require multiple caches, like a 10 for 10, by the same CO. And yeah, I look at every single cache that is claimed. So if somebody's doing 10 for 10, and if if 25 teams or 25 players pick that task, I'm looking at 250
caches to make sure.
I have to check them, because I want to make sure it's published before the games, and I want to make sure they have they've logged the find and all that kind of stuff. So everybody gets treated the same. I look at everybody's claims, everything that they claim. So it's quite complicated. Right. It takes a lot of time.
Do you add any additional, like I think with the Texas challenge, the 254 counties, that has to be verified. That's a little bit different. But do you add anything additional in, like the people that are claiming a cache have to take a picture of the log, or is there anything other than it's still pretty much the honor system?
One of the tasks is the lonely cache task. Mm-hmm. And we recommend that they take a picture of the actual log when they submit, and it be on their log on the lonely, on the cache.
Okay.
But yeah.
So another thing that we've done is for benchmarks to have a personal item in your benchmark photo that proves that you were there. And so, for a team, then there's 2 items, different things like that. So we do ask for proof that you were there at the cache.
And we do require pictures on things like this past weekly bonus that ended at midnight last night. It was CETO 5 locations, and it could be new caches that you have found, or it could be maintaining your own caches, or if you're on a team, caches that belong to either of the people, whoever's on the team. So we did require that you post a picture of your trash bag, your loot bag, basically full of what you've picked up at the cache site, not showing the cache location, of course.
Sure.
And you're supposed to be in the picture. Mine's a big security issue, as is my partner. So we put our feet in there, his boot, my boot, whatever. Yeah. And so just to prove that we've done that. So we do have a winter caching, Texas Winter Caching Facebook page that sometimes we require some photos to be posted on there of things. So yeah, but the actual log itself, we don't. I just verify on each cache page that they've logged a find.
Okay.
Or written the note, or whatever the requirement it is.
Okay.
Very cool. Yeah. So, Sherry, she's over in Arkansas. She says this really looks like a lot of fun. So Sherry, I think this is perfect for your group, or for the Arkansas group. I'm working on Arkansas County, so I'm been over in that area a little bit of late, and so got to meet some various Arkansas caches recently. I think this is really cool. Now, so is there?
Before we go further ahead, there's some people that have never participated in any kind of challenges or anything else. Patricia asked, "What is the object of the game?"
We have different prize categories. So there's top highest points, the highest positive points.
Yeah.
That's one of the categories. Another category is the lowest negative points. We have the closest to 0, and we have the closest to the average score overall. So as the tasks, as you read through them, you'll see that they're worth positive, negative, or 0 points of different values. So when you post your log claiming the points, you have to state Are they positive? Are they negative? Or are they zero? So it becomes kind of a strategic thing. What's your target? Are you just playing for fun, or do you really want to, see if you can win that special coin or whatever we have for prizes this year?
So now you have me intrigued. What are positive and negative points?
Okay, so for instance, task 1 this year is bring a muggle to an event. It's for 15 points, plus or minus. So if you bring a muggle to an event, you can claim 15 points positive or 15 points negative. And that's what Julia will put on the score for that task for you, for your team, or if you're playing solo.
Okay.
And so they get, and you can do, if you're trying to get closest to 0, you can use some of them with positive points, some of them with negative points, because it's just basic math, and it'll get close. We've had one or 2 years where somebody actually scored 0.
It's very, very strategic.
You have to pay attention to, the point values, and then if you want to do the bonuses or not. The bonuses, biweekly bonuses, are purely optional, as are the monthly bonuses. So as is the winter challenge with the whole temperature thing, but all those are optional. But to be in the running to win a prize, you have to this year complete 12 tasks. And the object, really, the whole overall object of these games are really just to get people out in the wintertime.
Right.
It's colder out there. Some people just don't like to get out there. Yep. The person that is on my team, he doesn't like the colder, rainy weather. So, we kind of look at the weather, and if it's cold and dry, we'll still go. But if it's raining and cold, I don't really like that much either. So maybe we won't go that day. But
unless it's an anniversary cache.
But a lot of times, it's the basic overall why we kind of do this is to get people out. Get them out, get them cashing, keep them moving in the wintertime.
If people have been in a slump for a while, like we had some people join, like not this last year, but the 2 years ago, and they hadn't been caching in like 4 or 5 years. And at the end of the games, they sent us a message and say, "Hey, you got me out of my slump. I can't believe how much fun I've been missing out on this game. I got into a slump, and it happened during winter."
Oh, wow. Cool.
And we're going to talk about the specific task in just a minute, I know, but just as a preview, none of these things are things that if you have a general, well-rounded caching, year, that are totally abnormal. Like, you're not asking people to do anything that isn't like a good, healthy thing for the game. And it'll make more sense when we get in here, but you're not like saying go out and find 10,000 caches this year, or
no.
a cliff or anything like this. These are all good things that you kind of want to do in a year anyway. At least that's my opinion. We'll see what other people's opinion are, but I think that's my opinion when looking through these. These are like, I was like, that looks like a good caching year. Or what? I think you said it once, but what's the time limit on this? Is it a full year?
No, it's 3 months.
90 days.
90 days.
90 days. And one thing I want to clear up too, Anne was asking, I think it is too late.
It is too late to start. Yes.
Oh,
it is
too late to start. Yes.
So just want to make
Too
sure.
late to start the game, not the podcast. It's too late to start the game.
Right. And it's not too late to go out caching, and you know that, but it's too late to start the Texas Winter Games because there's a time frame there, and you want people to start. And
if she wants to play those tasks or look at it and try to accomplish, we just wouldn't be able to include her on the score sheet or be eligible for prizes. But if she wants to follow along and look at it and say, "Hey, maybe I'll try my own challenge to myself,"
right?
You certainly could, try to do some of those things. But I had posted this year, and I think we did it last year too, didn't we, Brenda? All the regional Facebook pages here in Texas. We tried to post that it was this year. I posted early that, hey, look out, it's coming. Be on the lookout for this. And then once it published, we posted again about, hey, you have till this Saturday night to sign up. If you want to write a note on the page, we just kind of went like that. So we try to publicize it around the state. I can't remember if we talked about it at the board meeting with the regional reps. I can't remember. In November, we should do that probably ahead of time next year, just so that they can put it out to the folks in their region as well. But we have players from all over. So
all parts of Texas,
all parts of the state. So
and people can come if hopefully we don't have any issues, but
Yeah.
let's assume there's no issues. People could come to the final, the event, the actual final event. That's on that page, right? On February 21st,
Yes.
starting at 4, and it's on that event page. So if you want to come in and see, kind of what Jess and I did back in the day, is we would go to the finishers event at the Texas Challenge before I was a finisher, and now I get to go and actually be part of that. But even when we weren't when we weren't finishers, you could come to that event, and we always encourage people to come to the finishers event because it's a big party. And
yeah, so people can come to the event whether they participate in the challenge task or not. It's still a regular event. People can show up and claim an event, and have fun, and watch the festivities either way. Before we move on, because I know we're going to get to the other parts really quickly. The positive and negative points, people are asking questions about that. That's basically just to have different ways, to have strategy, to have more categories to win in, right?
Correct.
Because if it's only positive points, one person wins, but if you have negative and you have 0 and you have average and all these other categories, it just adds more complexity to it and more fun to it. Okay.
We did add one more category this year that we haven't really announced, but we can announce it here.
Oh, well, here we go. Wait,
it's a mystery. It's a mystery category.
Oh, okay.
So we had a non-player, a geocacher that's not playing the geocaching games, has not read any of the tasks, doesn't know what they are, pick out 2 numbers between 0 and 29, write them down, and a third number if there's a tiebreaker. Those are in a sealed envelope, and I'm going to give those to Julia, and they'll be opened up the day of the final score. So anybody that's completed those 2 tasks will win the mystery
prize.
Right.
And neither Brenda nor I, because we're both playing.
That's right. I don't have any idea what those numbers are.
She hasn't seen it. I haven't seen it either. So there's no advantage to being Team Winner Jazz. We don't know anything. So
that's okay. That's cool though.
So there's tons of ways to win. In other words, you made a game with fun tasks that are positive for the game, which we're going to get into. But you also made tons of ways for people to play and win.
Yes.
Exactly.
There we go. That's great.
And what's really cool is a lot of people that play, they feel like they're winning because they're participating in the game.
Yeah.
It's really, really cool.
It's always fun to add a little something extra, right? We all, like you said, you brought people back out of cash retirement. You know, people that are in a slump or whatever else. It's always fun. You never know what it's going to be to get somebody excited again. All of us are different. So this is a great way and we all need it right now. So we all need something right now to make it a little more fun. So
yes, absolutely.
This sounds like a lot of fun.
And I will tell you, in the past 4 final events we had at different establishments, eating establishments, restaurants, so that it was indoors, because we're talking February, and even though we're in San Antonio, it gets a little chilly, but sometimes we have inclement weather. But due to COVID this year, our kickoff event we had at a park outside, and our final's going to be at a park outside, so we can safely social distance and still have our final and hand out our prizes. So it's a little bit shorter time frame, or maybe it's always been about 30 minutes, but when we're at a restaurant, everybody hangs around and talks and stuff like that.
The event is 30 minutes. They always last way longer.
That's right.
Exactly.
So, Tom mentioned something funny, and he said he already won because he created his first 2 Earth caches. If you get somebody to do something they've never tried before in the game, and Tom's been around the game obviously a long time, right? We all know Tom. But
it's really old. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's mean.
That was the point. Okay.
But you know what? If you get somebody to step outside and do something brand new to the game that they may love, you've done something with this challenge. Whether he wins any prizes or not, you've already done something really good, for him or whoever else does this. So, it's already a winner before the event is even over. So,
so let's get into a couple more details. So, One of them was from the notes says fulfill any 12 of the tasks listed below after the start of the games. To complete the games, exactly 12 tasks must be logged. So there's one of the things you got to figure. And like you said before, Julia, is you don't want to wait till the last minute to fulfill all 12 because you're not going to make it.
Right. And we have 29 listed this year to choose from. So some of them may be up somebody's alley and some may not, you know, so you can pick and choose what you want to do. If you're going for, you know, a big score, you know, you want to pick ones with higher point values, whether you pick plus or minus, you know, you still both ends of the spectrum there. So,
Sure.
Yeah, but don't wait till the last minute because, yeah,
Yeah.
it's not going to happen.
Tasks must be claimed within 7 days of finding the cache and before the conclusion of the games. Task 17 is exempt from being claimed within 7 days, but must be claimed prior to the conclusion. So
Well,
I didn't look.
yeah, that'll make sense in a minute.
It will? Okay.
Yeah.
Text it. Okay. Keep going. Sorry. Seasoned. Tom says he's seasoned. Okay. Yeah. Well seasoned. No, I'm kidding. Okay, cool. So that's cool that for people, to log them, it's pretty simple to log them though. I mean, there's a lot of, you just want to make sure you don't wait. You got to sort of plan ahead and, you don't want to wait too long after finding a cache that you plan to do. You want to make sure you get that on the page.
Yep, exactly.
As a right note. Okay, cool.
Yes, because some of the tasks require 2 or 3 things to be done. Like, for instance, there's a sunrise, sunset, but it's got to be at different locations and stuff like that. So you can't really do sunrise probably in 3 different locations all at the same time. So, if you do it 3 days in a row, that's fine. And then make your claim, or some of these other things. But task 17, that's a spelling bee, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have to look. I can't remember. I don't have these.
Yes.
So the spelling bee, we have a mini spelling bee and a big spelling bee. And this year the mini is Muggle. So you find 6 caches starting with those letters to spell out Muggle. And then the other one is festival, and then the GC code for challenge this year. So you got to find, it's 15 total, and with each of those letters and then the numbers that are in the GC code for Texas Challenge. So that's why you have a little bit longer than, like getting it done all at once, because it does take some time to fulfill those.
So somebody's asking about the prize categories. How would they know? Is there somewhere on the cache event page, or how would they know what the different?
Remember, usually here's what we have done in the past is usually we go over the prize categories at the launch event.
Okay.
And we did go over the prize categories at the launch event. And then anybody that asks after that is new to the game, we just tell them.
Okay.
And I actually thought it was on the cache page as well somewhere. I'd have to look through them all.
So it's not a secret. They just have to ask for it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay.
Not a secret.
Sherry's making notes because I think she's thinking about doing something.
Hey, tell her to contact us. We'll help her out.
In Arkansas, yeah, definitely.
If they do it in another state, that'd be awesome. Yeah,
definitely, Sherry. Let me know. I'll get you in touch with anybody over here in Texas to take care of the things. So, so a couple things that are obvious, I think, but worth mentioning because I think people, these are standard rules that you'd want to have on your game, which is
right.
Tasks must be claimed on a cache previously unfound, and also the task must be claimed against a different cache unless the requirement states otherwise. So as we talked about before, you can't do some kind of crazy tripling up of a cache.
Yeah.
Go, hey, well, this cache is
it works for this and this and this. Yeah.
Oh, it fills this one too. What do you know? I would double the prizes.
So somebody asked. You already mentioned the Facebook group. Is the Facebook group open to everybody or just people that are participating in the game?
It's open to everyone.
Okay. What would that Facebook, if people were going to search for that, what would they search for?
The 2020-2021 Texas Caching Games.
Okay.
That's the group.
I think people are interested in watching and seeing what's going on now. So
Yeah, you got them all. The interest is peaked.
Most of the activity for what each player is playing is going to be on the actual cache page.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah, in the logs, just scroll on down and read what people are doing, because that's where they've claimed everything to get their points on whatever caches for what task. So
Right.
everything's pretty much there. We're starting to use the Facebook page, I think, a little bit more,
Sure.
but again, that's not something that's not where our main information.
No, it's about the game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Points vary by task, bonus, and challenge. These are clearly defined below. Some give participants a choice in point value.
Mm-hmm.
Of the different ones, they give you a point values, right?
Mhm.
Therefore, you must clearly state the point value, and because you might be playing in different people can play in different directions, which is kind of cool. I didn't think about that. You got people are racing one direction. You have other people racing the opposite direction, and you have people that are trying to race nowhere.
Right.
They're trying to stay right in the
How can I do
center.
all 12 of these and end up with 0?
Yeah,
Or just the average. I gotta check this scoreboard every 2 weeks. What's the average? What's the average?
well, and the interesting thing is
12 tasks to get 0. Go
they
ahead,
can't just
Jesse.
like save it up till the end because you have to do it within 7 days.
No, right.
So you
Right.
can't try to cheat or sandbag. You have to do it along the way as you go. So that's a really good idea. And again, we're seeing a lot of this stuff. We're going over a lot of this stuff not because people can start this one late, but because we really hope that other people copy this in other places.
Yeah,
exactly.
So I think that's why people are like, "Why are you highlighting this if we can't do it?" Well, because we hope you copy this. We really
want you to copy it.
Even if you just do a little one.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Or take part.
You can do 1 month.
You could do a 30-day one and, require maybe 6 of the task and give them a choice of 15 to pick from, or something like that. And then you would have a weekly bonus. You wouldn't necessarily have the monthly bonus because it's only 1 month, but you could 6 weeks, however long you want to make it, whatever works for you to start with. If you're trying to do it by yourself, which, don't recommend that, try to get 2 people to run this thing so somebody can be creative and come up with these ideas, Brenda, and and someone that keeps score. That would be me, and I'll be happy to share the spreadsheet that I use because it's got the formulas in it already. It's just addition formulas basically. And
that brings up 2 questions from the chat room.
Yeah.
One, where is the scoreboard posted?
On the cache page.
On the cache page.
Okay.
Brenda will make an announcement. She doesn't have the one from the first 2 weeks yet because I'm still posting stuff to it.
When it's ready, I'll post it up there and everybody will be able to see what they submitted for points and what their total is currently. And then after each bi-weekly, we post it up again.
Very
the
cool.
other is, and you kind of just alluded to it right before I got to it, but if people want to copy this, can they reach out to you?
Absolutely.
Yep, for sure. For sure.
Now, I know all of y'all down in Texas are glutton for punishment because y'all do big events and keep doing stuff over and over, but be careful what you just said because there's a lot of people that listen to this and they may be reaching out to you. That's so great.
That's fine.
That's fine. Yeah, we're here to help folks because we've been doing this. This is our fifth year and people have fun with it and we have fun with it. And so
yes,
that's what
absolutely.
Geocaching to me is just to have fun.
I did want to add one thing that probably you haven't really noticed too much because it was so much on the cache page of this particular one. But each year after the first year that we've done it, we've teamed up for one of the weekly activities with a Canadian player and their Canadian game because their Canadian game is still ongoing. And so one of the times they had to team up and they had to find caches at different altitudes. And between the 2 of them, the Canadian player and the Texas player that were teamed together, the difference in their altitude was given a score value.
Okay.
And then another time, one of the things they had to do was find 2 caches, and the attributes between the 2 caches had to equal 14.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Wow.
So it became interactive with
Wow.
Canada and us, and it was really a lot of fun. Last year, we did a team activity where there was a multi-cache. So the Canadians created a stage there that required an answer that a Canadian player would need to get and share with the Texas player to be able to find the final of the Texas cache here.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
That
really
is
awesome.
cool. That
Really,
is
really
cool.
awesome.
That is, I like that. We
So
need
the
to have one
game-
of these in every state,
Yeah,
every
and
country.
have it be cooperative.
Yeah, a cooperative one. That is
Yeah.
That is really cool. Yeah, we have a lot of Canadian listeners and viewers. So thank you for mentioning that. We have people all over the world, but since we're talking about this and we're talking about the Canada connection, that's kind of cool. So speaking of, we got Hugh. He's there. That sounds
There you
good.
go.
All right. So another note that I had, I wanted to bring up and let you guys discuss was we talked briefly about the multiplayer teams, and Julia mentioned about some of that. So again, if you're trying to you're creating this in your own state or province or country, here's a note: multiplayer teams would be more than one person using the same name with the other members present. All members of multi-person teams must meet the qualifications of the task and must be present. So just a reminder that you need to have that when you're doing the different events or different tasks.
Yeah.
So, very cool. So let's, if we can, let's go through and talk about the tasks because
So,
I think they're
Before we do that, we have one more question.
You're fine,
What
go
kind of
ahead.
prizes are we talking about?
We have had coins. Julia and I have donated coins, and we also have had sponsorship from the TXGA and for Space Coast.
Yep.
And First to Find magazine.
Yes,
Yeah,
and for
that
Find
donated-
Magazine.
FTF. Oh, yep. All sponsors of here, so that's great. Well,
Mhm.
you
Team
could
Red
mention-
Hat.
Yep, Red Hat. Okay, not a
Hat
sponsor
or
of us, but
whatever it is.
we're pro Red Hat.
Mhm.
We just
Oh,
yeah. So I just wanted to fun Red Hat join us. We'd love to have you guys on board. my shout out to different sponsors, but okay.
Yeah,
As we go through the task, though, I'd be interested to see, because Gary and I were talking about this beforehand too. I think these are totally normal caching activities. Now, you may not always focus on them if you aren't thinking about it, but I think all of these are pretty normal and great goals. I'd love to hear the chat room that's here now, like, just chime in as we go through these goals. If this seemed like something that you would want to shoot for in the next year, I mean, even if you're not in this game, right? In the next year or 90 days anyway, I'd love to see their reaction as we go through these goals. I love them. I love these tasks.
All righty. Task 1. Bring a muggle to an event. 15 points. Well, or minus 15 points, depending on which direction you're going. Forward, backward, or you're trying to stay where you
get
are.
0 points, like a negative and a positive.
Not all of the tasks have 0 in them.
Aha, see?
I
You
know,
gotta
right?
gotta plan ahead. Gotta
Yep.
plan ahead.
That
Yeah.
is always a good plan. That's a good general geocaching thing to try for, is to introduce somebody new to the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Task number 2. Help a new hider place a cache. 20 points.
Yep. I own a lot of caches, and when I have new cachers finding my caches or DNFing my caches, I always reach out to them and say, hey, so like, here's this. And then they're like, oh, thank you very much, but I want to hide a cache. And I'm like, well, go find some more caches and then I'll help you.
Right. Very cool. Task number 3. How about that sunrise sunset? So how does that one work? Is there anything real specific about that one, you guys? Or
I think the idea was to get people caching outside of their normal, like, do you always cache in the daytime? Would you even consider caching early in the morning? Like, get up, get out there, get going, right? Or a sunset, like, who doesn't love a sunset?
Yeah, very cool. Okay.
That's a good one.
That one.
Say it again.
You have to post a photo of the sunrise and sunset at the caches that you're finding. Whether it be the sunrise, if you're caching at dawn or caching at sunset, you have to post a picture there as well.
Sure.
And then with GC of the cache that you're finding.
So that promotes good photos for logs anyway.
Yes.
That's perfect. Jesse, you keep watching comments. I'm just putting info in the banners. So task number 4, attend or host an educational event, 25 points. I like that. That's cool.
That's great. That is one of my favorite ones that I've seen on the list. Total. We haven't gone over them all yet, but that's one of the. If we could get more people to do this, not the attend part, but the host part. Obviously, attend one too. But if we could get more people to help new cachers or help cachers understand more about the game, that would be a huge win in 2021. Hopefully, we'll see that everywhere.
And when you look at the page, there's a list of choices, possibilities. How to make an earth cache, how to create a where I go, how to do a CETO. I mean, there's probably about 8 choices on there,
Right.
Just for ideas.
How to make a creative geocache hide.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And what Tom says right there is absolutely right. You do not have to be the expert to host one of those kinds of events.
Right. If you're a brand new cacher, you could host the event and bring somebody in. There is an expert on something in your area, I guarantee you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
That's very good. This one's interesting. I want to hear more about, which is cache with a noob. You get 5 points for caching with a noob. What defines a noob?
Somebody that hasn't been caching for very long.
Less than 50 caches fines, I think, is what we put on there.
Okay, yeah, I was wondering if there's a specific. Let me see.
Take that same cacher you brought to the event. That brand new muggle that you just converted to brought to the event, take him to a cache.
Well, you can't double like that on the same cache.
Well,
a different cache. After the event, go out caching with them.
It does say that the noob
50.
has to have been registered on geocaching before the games began.
So they had to have
okay.
less than 50 cache fines.
Yeah. Log any physical cache with a geocacher who has less than 50 fines prior to this team up. There you go. So they had to have found 50 or less than 50 prior to the beginning of the game.
That's fun. I like that.
That's interesting. Okay, cool. Next one is, this one will definitely need some more discussion. Mini spelling bee, highest D and highest T, highest difficulty and highest terrain, highest difficulty plus highest terrain, and then you get points based on that.
Correct.
Okay, so
Right.
5, you get 10 points.
Correct.
Okay, gotcha.
They can be plus or minus. So
Right. Yeah, all the points are plus or minus, depending on which direction you're racing. I love that. I love this idea. I picture in my mind all these. In this case, there was 25 people, and they're all at a starting line. And you guys, get the starter pistol out, and you go, "All right, here we go!" Push the button, click the starter pistol. The shot goes off, and several people scatter in 2 different directions, and there's a group that kind of stand there and go, "Okay, we started." And so you got like 10 people racing toward the finish line this way. 8 people going this direction. 7 people standing there looking at each other, going, "Yeah, I'm going to beat you to this spot."
Well, and the thing about it is, if you have never climbed a tree before, but you want to, or gone in a kayak before, you can ask an experienced cacher to go with you. It kind of pushes you to say, okay, so I want to do this, but how do I do it? Right? So you ask somebody for help. You can ask your host of the event, do you know anybody who can help me go and do this? And it just creates this whole interactive thing where, yeah, you can borrow my kayak. There's one in the middle of that pond right there, 3 feet under, pull the string kind of a thing.
Right.
And they get a 5 terrain cache that they never had before.
Oh, that's cool.
Or
Yeah.
would have never thought of to even go get.
Love it.
That is really cool.
Mhm.
Okay, task number 7 is interesting. Abandoned structure cache, 10 points, either plus minus, however you're playing it,
Or 0.
or 0. Oh, okay.
Yep.
And luckily, with the new search filter, it makes it a lot easier to do that.
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm.
It's like the Amazing Race. Yes, it is. It kind of is. Although Kate says she's taking the turtle approach.
It's not a race to get your 12 tasks done first.
Right.
You know, a race for that, it's the point value. So yeah, so Kate's taking the turtle approach. That's fine. You know, maybe she's super busy or something right now and can't really get out to cache as much as she'd like.
Yeah.
And you know, maybe Jonathan is jamming, you know, to try to get all the tasks done because they know they have something coming up in January to where maybe they can't cache as much kind of thing. So it's not a race to get the task done. It's a challenge to see who gets closest to the most points, most minus points, 0 average.
We're
you
just
know.
keeping you going.
Yep.
Right. We have some people that travel out of state and they come back home and they're like, okay, I'm going to get back to my caching. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Exactly.
going.
All right. Task number 8 of the 12 is called Into the Dark. It is a mystery. If it's a mystery geocache, you get 5 points plus or minus, and if it's a multi-cache, then it's 7 points plus or minus.
And it's what's the other one?
The third category is where I go.
Where I goes 9 points. Sorry.
9 points. Yeah, I like that. We know Jesse will like that.
That's
He will
right.
do that. Exactly.
At least y'all ranked it right, so that's what's important.
Then both come to where I go. Yes, absolutely.
They use the creative spelling of where I go.
The correct, you mean?
The correct spelling.
That's right. Gary notoriously misspells it. So
Where we go. Where we go. I think some of them, they got an E in there, but that's okay. 9 points plus or minus. Cool. Okay. Yeah.
And that's for night caches, right?
Yeah.
Right. Recommended at night.
Yep.
Into the dark. It's got to have that attribute.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It has to have that attribute. See, that works out. The attribute C. It's perfect.
Mhm.
All right. So then, task 9, Tom referred to a little bit. Well, no, he didn't refer to this one, but because he created some. But this one's called Task 9. Find an Earth cache, 15 points.
Yeah.
Plus or minus, obviously, depending on what you're doing. I like that.
Yep, that's a good one because a lot of people may not normally find Earth caches. So, yeah.
Yeah, some people don't do that. That's fine. That's fine.
Well, and depending on where you live, there's not always like a ton of Earth caches around.
Right.
You know, here in San Antonio for the longest time, there was really just kind of a handful.
Right.
And now there are quite a few more, which is nice because, you know, I don't typically run out to find an Earth cache here in San Antonio because I kind of save them for International Earth Cache Day.
Right.
But now that there's more, it's like you get a chance to be able to fulfill this task and still have one in reserve for International Earth Cache Day. So I think about stuff like that because you know, I don't want to drive 2 miles to find an Earth cache.
Maybe you're traveling out into another area of the state doing another task and you're like, oh, there's an Earth cache here. I can do this. And you include that in what you're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay. And then this one's very fascinating as well. They're all great, but here's task 10. Task 10 is Field Medic. 2 plus difficulty plus terrain points on your own current hide or a team member's current hide, plus or minus. So you perform field maintenance and log any physical cache that displays the maintenance required is what I think that's
always good to encourage this.
Yes.
Very cool. That's interesting. Now, again, was that one? Did y'all add that later? Or was that one that was being done in
From the beginning.
Really? Okay, cool.
Yes.
I think that the first initial field medic task that we had on there didn't have that it needs to have displaying the maintenance required icon.
Right, it
Oh.
didn't.
Okay.
It didn't, but it does now.
Right. And we also didn't require it being on your own hide. So people were trying to do maintenance on other people's hides, and they were contacting cachers that haven't been caching in a while, and they're like, oh yeah, sure, replace it. So then that's when we kind of backed it back to it has to be your own current hide or somebody on your team,
With the maintenance.
and the maintenance required has to be on there.
Yeah. Go Makimo. Warigo. That's good.
That's another way to pronounce it.
Warigo. Speaking of, task number 11, create a Warigo, 20 points. Or you can do a reverse where I go for 5. Or you can create an Earth Cache for 20.
Which is what Tom did.
Yep.
Mhm.
Now, he says he created 2. That was part of it's because he wants to get to Platinum, probably Earth Cache.
Mm-hmm.
Because he only gets credit for 1 for task 11, correct?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he can't double up task 11. And you can create either a where I go, reverse where I go, or an Earth Cache, and you get 20 points plus or minus.
So each one of those things has a different point value. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Oh, right.
So that's where it kind of gets into strategy and people that are like serious and like, oh, this might work for this or whatever.
Right.
Mhm.
Be like, oh, I need to do this because
Right.
I have. It was funny. So once you post, this is something I would do just to let you guys know. This definitely is going to sound like me. Is I'm going to head in one direction, and I'm going to get down that road a while. I'm going to go, oh no, I'm not going to be able to make it. I'm going to turn around, I'm gonna go back the other way. Jesse's racing to the finish line. I'm going to get as most points as I possibly can. I'm like, oh, I can't keep up with that. I wonder if I get back to 0.
I wonder if I get back to 0. Can I get closest to average? What am I
Yeah.
doing here?
I'm going to race back to 0, or I'm going negative. Either way, it's like I'm going negative, and I'm trying to get the most negative points.
The lowest.
Negative. Yeah, most negative points.
The most negative points.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense in my head. You want the least negative points? Okay, never mind. I'm
Least
on,
You're getting off track now. Yeah.
I'm on a different channel there.
We
on
have
my
a lot
brain.
more tasks to make it through before
Sorry.
before the end. So you're going to get back.
Okay, but there you go. All right, number 12. Task number 12. Happy anniversary. Plus or minus. See below for details on scoring. You have to look at the cache page for that. I can't put it on the banner.
That one is really hard.
Yeah, find up to 5 caches on their hidden on anniversary, regardless of what year they were placed. Oh, I like that.
That's a fun one. There's some challenges out there too. Those are fun.
Cache, wow, that is very unique. I like that. Okay.
So this one is a flip-flop from last year. Last year it was the highest D and the highest T.
Mm-hmm.
This year it's not.
Okay.
It's the lowest D and the lowest T, and that makes it far, far more challenging.
Definitely harder, yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. Okay. All right, next task. Task number 13 is to find anywhere I go. There we go.
That's obviously 100 points. Go ahead.
No, it's not.
Oh, 10. I had an extra 0 in there. My fault.
Yes, an extra 0. All right. Okay. Next one is
It's a good one.
task 14. This is interesting also. A 200-word log on a geocache find. So you have to write a 200-word log, correct? That you're trying to do? Okay. Yeah. Excellent. Okay.
Hopefully it'll be a nice log, not I found it, 97 times.
It has to be an original original log. You can't go and copy something from the Declaration of Independence or something and post it in there. You need to write something original. And so thank God for Microsoft Word, because I just copy that, slap it into Word, tells me how many words are in it, and boom,
Right.
first story.
There you go.
Perfect.
Does it have to be exactly 200 words, or can it be more?
It can be more.
Okay.
Yeah, 200 words. Mine was 291 that I wrote yesterday.
Okay.
Nice.
Task 15, also fascinating. Host a national day of event or place 3 national day of themed caches of different types for 25 points. Pick a national day of something and host an event to celebrate that. So National Pizza Day or something, or
I did National Pie Day last year.
Yes.
My partner and I, we pie, P-I-E, not pie,
Right.
0.14.
Right.
And a friend of mine and I baked 2 or 3 different pies, and then we hosted this event. And the folks that came, one guy brought 2 different pies he had made, and somebody else brought another pie. And there was probably 10 pies at this event. And we had it at a park, under a pavilion.
Love it.
At 5:00 in the afternoon, and it was pretty awesome. So there's lots of things. Tom just had National Lager Day on Thursday, December the 10th, and he hosted it at a what was that place? A beer brewery, right? And
Right.
so for that, so there's lots of, you can look, Google National Day of calendar, and there's multiple things on every day of the year.
There's tons of them.
Exactly. And so, if you don't want to do the event, or you can't, where you
Frozen
where
yogurt.
you are, or something like that, then, you can place 3 caches that are themed like that. So
National Beer Can Appreciation
we
Day.
did that last year.
That is bizarre. Well, I'm going to say bizarre, but to celebrate national cans, I guess, is sort of a okay. All right. Next one is it's all about the wildlife. Bugs excluded this time around. Claim points on fines or maintenance or hides as follows. Points are plus or minus or 0. Cash points total 2 caches, 4 points total. Let me go back to that page so you can kind of explain.
So this is, you're trying to find wildlife and take a picture of it at the cache, right?
At the cache, yes.
Okay.
And bugs don't count, like literal bugs.
But you can have frogs and snakes and things like that. You could probably have horses and cattle and stuff like that. We just, last year we had people post pictures of bugs by the cache that they found, ants or
Insects,
crickets or whatever.
Kill bugs.
Right. So this time we wanted to expand that out a little bit, and so yeah, there you go. 1 cache equals 2 points. 2 caches, 4 points. 3 caches, or 5 points. So
so you could again tweak depending on which direction you're racing.
Well, and you can do just 1 if you want. If you go find caches and you find 1 with wildlife by it, just claim 1. But maybe you find 3 caches with wildlife and take pictures, and you get 5 points. So it's 1, 2, or 3.
Now, when you post that you've completed task 16, for example, do you ever have anybody come back and go, "Oh, I'm going to redo task 16 and I'm going to make it something different. I'm going to do a different point total."
You can't do that. Once you claim the task, then there's no redos. The only time we let you redo that is if we reject your, claiming. If it was on a cache that was published after the start of the games, or something like that. If we reject your claim, then you can do it over. But
gotcha. But you can't deliberately go, "Oh, well, no, I need to change that one." So, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Gotcha. Task 17, spelling
This is
bee.
the one we mentioned earlier.
Calculation 14 plus lowest difficulty level point or difficulty rating plus the lowest terrain rating, plus or minus or 0. Find a total of 15 caches using the first letter of the cache name to spell festival GC8W9P1.
That's
Texas Challenge.
2021.
Makes
Gotcha.
sense.
Right. That does make sense. I don't know why I was. Yeah.
Texas Challenge and Festival is
Right.
the actually name of it. And that's the GC for it coming up in March.
Oh, gotcha. Yep. Cool. I like that. All right. Next task is task 18, mysterious task, 12 points. Find exactly 3 mystery or puzzles, caches during a single calendar day, midnight to midnight. Other cache types may be found during the same
Calendar day.
cuts off calendar day. Okay, right. But you got to have at least, if you're going to complete this one, you have to have exactly
3.
3.
Right. And I do go and check people's profiles. And if they found more than 3 mysteries, then we can't count it.
Right.
'Cause it's exactly 3. So if they found other cache types, traditionals or multis or whatever, that's fine, but exactly 3, mysteries, puzzle caches. So to get their points.
Gotcha. Ask which one am I on?
19. Yeah. 10 caches by the same cache owner.
Oh yeah, cool. Yep, I didn't post that. Let me put that in the banner. Yeah, that's kind of a cool one. Task 19. 10 for 10. 10 points. Log 10 caches of any type hidden by the same cache owner.
And this is actually trickier than it sounds because you've probably found caches. You have those cache owners that you find caches of. So if you've cached already in an area, you're probably going to have to go outside of your local area to do that, or because these have to be before the event started. Yeah. So that one actually is a lot trickier than it sounds, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It can be, depends on where here in San Antonio, we have several people that have a lot of hides that have hidden. And so if you don't go and get them right away, then you have some good choices.
Yeah.
But if you have gone to get them right away, and they're still putting out caches, if it's after the start of the game, then you're just out of luck. You're going to have to go out further probably to find.
And this is where it's actually going to help to be a newer cacher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's a lot of advantages for newer cachers.
Yes, absolutely.
This next one has an extra twist to it. I'm going to post as well, but no more than 2. Okay, so task 20. Did I skip? I'm good, right?
You're good.
19. Yep, task 20.
I like this.
Hide a multicache, 12 points, plus or minus, obviously. Hide any multicache that has a minimum of 2 steps, posted coordinates, midpoint, and the final location. There can be more than 2. And then let me put the rest of this out there.
So 2 or more,
but not less.
Waypoints. But this one has a fun twist, like you mentioned, about the favorite points on it.
Yeah, so, and this brings up a good question too. If this cache earns more than 5 favorite points by the end of the games, we will add 3 points to your score. If I want it, can I get negative 3 points?
This one's just it
is,
isn't it? Or no, it's plus or minus.
It's plus or minus.
Okay,
nice.
So that's going to be super hard to keep track of as a scorekeeper. So if that happens, please let us know, because I already checking a bazillion caches here. So if that changes, before the end of the games, you need to let us know, and then I will go and look at it. But
so that could be like if somebody was at crazily at score they have 3 points and they want to get to 0. This may put them over the backward hump, down valley, back to 0.
Back to 0.
It's just so weird.
There's a lot of things that can happen on the scoring of this game.
Yeah. I love it.
There's a lot of things.
That is crazy stuff.
Lonely. Lot of strategy.
That's crazy. I love it. Task 21. Lonely. Points depend on length of time cache has not been found, plus or minus. So points depend on the length of time. When you say length of time, do you mean day?
That it hasn't been found. How long it's been lonely?
So it could
How many
be
has it been since it was last found?
wow. So you could get like lots of points here. You could get like 720 points or something.
No, there's a thing below.
Oh, I didn't read below. You're right. Probably
So
help.
1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4
Oh,
year.
yeah, that would help.
There's a 6 months one too.
That would
Now-
help. That would help, Brenda. You're right. Let me put that in here.
Did you check ahead of time and see if there are very many caches that haven't been found in 4 years
No.
in Texas?
Nope. Because they're out there. There's some in San Antonio and our outlying areas that, yeah, haven't been found in 4 years.
Yep.
Wow.
Cool. Yeah, I love it. All right, next task. These are great, by the way. I hope people are enjoying the task 22. Fancy dress or costume. 3 plus the difficulty plus the terrain points. Log any physical cache and post a photo of you dressed in attire which directly relates to the cache's theme. Be creative. Wow, that's great.
And last year we actually, because we kind of had an extra prize, we had never done this before, but we had one gentleman post a picture and he was like super creative with his costume on a particular cache. So we got together and we decided, hey, we're going to give him a prize for the most creative costume.
That's awesome.
Now, a lot of people log this task, but claim this task, but this particular person had done it, and it was awesome. I mean, it was fit the name of the cache and everything, and so it was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. This one you definitely are going to have to explain more about, which is task 23. Host a CETO event, 25 points plus or minus. Your event must be listed on geocaching.com. It must be published before the games end. But your event can take place after the games.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But again, you've got to be able to post it prior. Makes sense.
It's got to be published before the end of the games. And then you could, once it's published, that's when you claim your points for it. But, say, because, it's a couple weeks, usually minimum 2 weeks. And so if you get it published, in February, but it's not until March or whatever, or after the end of the games, that's still okay. You can still have your event, but you can claim if you host it and it's published prior to the end of the games, once it's published, you can claim your points.
Yeah.
But the event can take place after it's ended, if need be.
Okay. Gotcha. Perfect. Task 24. Hide a large traditional, large being defined by geocaching.com.
Yes.
Not you. I'm going to call it a large. No. Has to fulfill the requirement. So we get 25 points. That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And we always need more large caches out there. So I like this one.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Love it. Okay. Task number 25. Again, you're only doing 12 of, I forget what the total was.
29.
29, right?
39.
Mhm.
All right.
29.
29. Sorry. That's what I meant. Make things mysterious. Get 8 points. I cut it off, didn't I? Let me
So
see.
had 3 up to 3 mystery caches, right?
Hide a 3. Okay. Gotcha.
Which would include challenge caches.
Yep.
Right.
Right. Cool. Yep. So, there was the note. Hide a minimum of 3 mystery caches, a mystery puzzle cache described on ground speak, etc. So there you go. 3 of those. Okay. And then we're on to task 26. I'm typing in the banners as fast as I can. So task 26. Become friendlier. 12 points plus or minus. Find a minimum of 3 caches with the attribute of recommended for kids and must be a regular sized cache. Interesting. So it's a double. You got to get regular for the size. It has to have the attribute to get 12 points.
Correct.
Points. I like that. All right. Next one, task 27 is X factor. By definition, X factor is the defining property or characteristic of a given situation or the variable of a given situation. Hang on, let me cut that in there. Oh, wow, this is a crazy one. So
10 caches by 10 different COs, all with 6 attributes.
wow.
Is that at least 6 attributes or only 6 attributes?
Minimum of 6 attributes.
Interesting.
So there's a lot to that one. There's a lot of research you have to do to find them by 10 different cache owners and having a bunch of attributes on it.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah.
They're getting more complicated as we get down the list.
Yeah, we're down to the last couple here. The last one. We'll talk about
this one.
Yeah, we'll talk about the challenge, the bonus ones. Well, we won't do all the bonus ones, but because we're running out of time. But let's do Task 28. Task 28. All by myself, 5 points. Hide a physical cache where the next closest physical cache coordinates are a minimum of a mile away. I like that. That's interesting.
Wow.
That's cool.
I'm not even sure immediately how to research that. It would take a little thinking to figure out how to research that other than just looking at the map.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And then I use CGO and I'll put the circles up on my map to see if any of the nearby caches fall within the, 10th of a mile. That's how I do it. I mean, if you don't use CGO, I'm not sure on some of the other apps, but
I think actually you can do some of that stuff too.
Yeah.
Right.
But it has to be a mile away though, right? Yeah. A full mile.
Well, yeah, you can, right, a mile away. So you have to gauge it by that. But
that's fun.
I think last year I kind of just went to a cache and then I started driving. When my odometer said it was a mile away from the last cache, then I looked to see if there was anything else within a 10th of a mile and kind of went that way. But if you live in a highly populated area, sometimes that's harder. Like San Antonio is pretty saturated with caches. So I have to drive out quite a ways to find a location that, I can fit the bill for that one. So it kind of depends on if you live out in West Texas, maybe you don't have such a hard time to find it. But, if the more populated areas, it's a little bit harder to find that area that's open. So but it's fun to do it. I mean, it's fun to research it and find a place for it. So.
Oh, absolutely.
That sounds like fun. Yeah.
If you set this up in Germany, you may have to really work hard to see if you can find
Maybe that's not a task you put in your game.
Maybe you skip it. Well, you put it in there, but yet.
But you only have to do 12 of 29. So if that one's super hard for you, then you can pick a different one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Or you can add more points depending on where you're at. Tweak accordingly. And then task 29. Interesting. Complete up to 3 Adventure Lab series. You get 10 points each. So to complete this task, you could do one. You could do one Adventure Lab and you get 10 points.
Well, it's got to be you got to complete it. Like the five stages of, you get 10 points. If you do 2, 20.
Yeah, 10 points for each series, up to 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
Up to 3.
So if you need it, right. 30. So if you're racing the Jesse direction, which is the most points that possible, just kidding.
Maybe.
Then he's gonna do 10 Adventure Labs and he's gonna complain that he only gets credit for 3. Okay, I see.
I had a question about that yesterday, I think. Somebody said, because they hadn't refreshed the cache page, because originally I think it said minimum of 3, and we changed it to up to, because they were wanting to know, could I do 7? I can easily do 7 and get 20 points. Nope, 3, only 3. Refresh your cache page and you'll see, and 3, and that's 30 points. So
cachers are always pros at finding loopholes. You have to tighten this thing up all the way.
Yeah.
And there are incredible bonuses. We're not gonna be able to get to them tonight, but you've got some crazy bonus stuff. That's almost for another. That's almost for another show.
I know, right?
finally got to say it. For
Oh.
another
That's for another show. It kind of is because there are. Okay, I got to share one of them as we start to wrap up tonight. But this is one that I see. Make a snowman bigger than 20 or 21 inches. We'll get you an extra 5 points.
That's on our winter games challenge. So that goes all together with the whole temperature challenge. So all that's together. And if you build a snowman bigger than 20 or 21 inches, or if you make a snow angel, here in San Antonio, hard to do, hadn't snowed since December 7th of 17.
Yeah.
Unless you travel. So, but if you live up north or West Texas, sometimes you get some snow up there. So,
Yep.
With the colder.
Yeah, it snowed. Actually, people are going to race out that are doing this game because I think it snowed in McKinney today. So
I heard it snowed up there somewhere.
So Kate could be out there right now with her kids
building snowman and making snow angels.
Building snowmen right now. Right, Kate? You're out there making them probably? She lives that direction. So
she's like, I'm making your show. I'm not building snowmen right now.
Oh my gosh, this is great. All right. Well, we've come to a close for tonight. So let's go around and let's start with you two. Thank you again for being on to talk about this first off. But what are some final thoughts that you two have on the 5th Winter Games?
Brenda, go ahead.
It's shaping up to be a really fun event. I'm so thankful that I have a team Winter Jazz partner like Julia. She's awesome at scorekeeping.
She is awesome.
Yep, absolutely. And there's some really cool weekly challenges and monthly challenges coming up. And if anybody wants to look at some of the previous weekly bonuses and monthly bonuses, they can go back. Our first one was GC7EYJH. That was our first one we hosted. The next one was GC7FNZQ. And the next one was GC8FY89. So if you need ideas for weekly bonuses or monthly bonuses, they're all there. Thank you for having us.
Oh, absolutely. No, this was
absolutely. Great. Thank you so much for having us on. Appreciate that. And thanks for, promoting these winter games. And please, anybody that wants to do something like that, Brenda and I are serious. You can reach out to us. Our geocaching names you can see on the screen here. And reach out to us. We'll be happy to share what we have and help you out in any way that we can. So, and the only other requirement, as Tom Brotherman would say, is you got to have fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's fun. You need to have fun. So, thanks for having us. This has been fun, even though I was kind of nervous about it, but this has been a lot of fun.
Sherry says, awesome idea. Hosting this in Arkansas will be my geocaching resolution.
Yay, Sherry.
That's cool.
Thanks, Sherry.
Cool.
I really hope people do copy this idea. I would love to see this in my area. And because it would give me something exciting to do. It's just like when HQ puts out those promotions or whatever they do, or the souvenir deals. They're usually, for most of the experienced cachers, they're pretty simple, right? If you cache and you cache regular, they're pretty simple because they got to include people. But y'all did something that includes both experienced cachers, some harder ones, and then some easier ones that everybody can do as well, and kind of balance it out well. I'd love to see this catch on and people do that a lot more. It'd be a lot of fun. It's always fun to, go, oh yeah, that's right. I do like to try new things and do other stuff. And this is a little different than what I normally do. And hopefully people do most of this stuff anyway. It's good stuff to do. So I really hope everybody steals all of your ideas next year.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I hope so too.
Yeah, me too. I agree with everything you guys said. So We appreciate you. So, thanks. Appreciate everybody.
You're so eloquent tonight.
Yeah, I am.
End of the year.
I'm blown away. So good stuff. So, all right. Let me find our outro, which I need to rename because I can never find it. So, okay, I think I found it. All right, here we go.
Folks, we hope you've enjoyed the show tonight. Please email us your comment at geocachetalk@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. The show can be found on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Radio Public, or Spotify, as well as at the Geocache Talk website. Don't forget to click that subscribe button below and ring that bell notification so that you can see and hear the show on a weekly basis. And tell your friends about the show. Get them involved with us in the chat room. And until next week, don't just talk about geocaching, go geocaching.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.